Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my blog, The Memoir of a CEO. And as you are aware, or may be aware, this month's blog is on change management and how leaders manage change and manage change really well. In my presentation, in my blog that I did this month, I talked about my personal opinions on 5 essential components to change management within an organization. And I decided that I was going to interview a series of people around those 5 topics here at CORA. So those 5 topics really were the importance of relationships, the importance of building trust, the importance of communication, the importance of having both authority and humility in the work that we do, and the importance of offering and providing ownership. So with that being said, my interview now is with my director of IT, and he has been with us since before COVID, and I can't believe actually how long you've actually been with us at this point. He'll talk to you about that in just a minute. But I specifically picked him for relationships. I'll say I specifically picked him because he has cultivated incredible relationships with his team, and in the midst of that, built a significant amount of trust within the organization, within his team, navigating through an organization that expanded very, very quickly and went through COVID with very few employees. And not only that, but has built an extraordinarily diverse team, more diverse than the rest of the organization has currently in place. So he is the right person to be asking about relationships, and he's an IT guy. He likes to be behind the scenes. So this is a great experience for him and for me to be able to talk through this together.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the kind words. I'm the IT director here. Been here for 5 years. Just received my 5-year award, which felt great. And we do everything technology.
And you made it through COVID with us.
Yes.
Yeah, we managed to hold on to our IT person during COVID when they were being recruited to every single firm. So I feel good about that. He's still here.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's great. So let's just dive into this a little bit. Let's dive into this topic of relationships and the importance of that when we think about change within an organization or your own department. Talk about it from your perspective. What do you personally need in order to shift gears when an organization is changing?
Sure. For me, I feel like it's a little bit easier being in technology. Change is the only constant. Things are constantly evolving, changing, we're upgrading, using the newest and latest, greatest things out there. And I think for people that are really interested in technology, this is exciting and fun for them. We love to be a part of how things are evolving, how we can make things better and more efficient, sometimes just more fun. So we love change.
So what do you feel is the most essential thing for you to trust and follow leadership through change?
For sure. Definitely working in a nonprofit, making sure we're on mission and I understand the vision and the direction. You know, when I follow your leadership, I know that you've done a lot of the jobs here at CORA. I know that you know what the direct service is. I know that you see the impact, the direct impact to our children and families and how we can improve their lives. And I know that you've done the work. You also are a consensus builder. I know you work with your team. The executive leadership team here is fantastic. I love working with all of them. And knowing that we're on mission, we have a clear vision, and that we've all come together and given all of our input, that we're making smart choices.
I love that. So you really talked about, you talked about obviously just trust in general, but talked about how the connection to the mission, the connection to why we do what we do as being really essential and really important. And the other thing that you've talked about here is transparency, right? Really being transparent in the work that you do. And I know that you've done that in building your own team and guiding them through many changes that we've had to go through here at CORA. So from your perspective, you just mentioned a few things. When would you say that CORA has done this well, like really gone through change management well?
Yeah. I think the whole country, the whole world faced some pretty dramatic challenges when the COVID-19 pandemic hit. Especially for a place like CORA, where a lot of the services we provide are direct in-person services. When we switched to virtual, I think we did a really fantastic job.
Thanks to you.
Well, thanks to all of us, for sure. But I really do think we pivoted quickly and efficiently with the information we had. We continued to evolve and adapt through the whole process. Everybody was on board. Everybody was at the table. Everybody's voice was heard. And, you know, we learned from direct service staff what we could do virtually, what we couldn't do virtually. We worked together with managers to make sure everyone had the newest technology they needed. Um, and I thought we did as best we could, for sure.
Yeah, what role?
Really proud of us.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I think that the organization overall felt we did that well. As did the families of the folks who worked for CORA, as did our schools. I think really thought we did a good job in making that shift happen. What role do you think transparency played in that at the time?
I think it was incredibly important. I think there was a lot of trust issues with transparency. It was challenging, especially in the beginning, to trust that we had the best information. There was often conflicting information. Unfortunately, politics got involved. So not being able to trust the outer world, I think it was really comforting that we got together, almost every day, if not every day, and looked at all the information that was available, and made smart choices, aggregated everything that we could, worked off what we thought was the truest and best information to make the smartest decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So when do you feel, or even now, whatever, that CORA could have or should be doing a better job in change management? Because I think in everything we do some things really well and we don't do other things really well. And so where is that now that you think that we could do a better job?
Right now, I'd love to see a little bit more work on the DEIB efforts. I think your goals and the initiatives have been really clear, and I love that. I think during the COVID-19 pandemic, everyone felt a certain urgency that their livelihood could be affected. The children and families we serve are struggling in such ways that it's unavoidable to observe. I think with the DEIB initiatives, I would like to see some of that same urgency and effort. And I think we're getting there, but I'd like to see us get there a little bit more quickly.
Yeah, I love how early on you talked about whenever there's change management, making it super clear and connecting it to mission and values, and to your point around the DEIB work, it's putting that in front of people like all the time. And I know you and I had a chance to briefly talk before we did this in front of the camera, but like I think it, you really touched at that point on how essential it is to kind of share that mission, that values, for the organization, to connect it really well to mission, and then to drive it home. And I know one of the things that we also discussed is this idea of the impact that we had on, this is where we're going as an organization. It's okay if you personally don't want to go there, but at least we're giving you a choice. We're making it really clear, and you're on board or you're not on board. And I think maybe early in, I think we started talking about with our DEIB work, and now we're beginning to kind of like trickle things out ever so slowly, but we're not keeping that message alive all the time. And I think you mentioned it earlier, and I totally agree with it. It's all about keeping that message in front of people all the time when you're going through change management. That's really critical, and I think that that's so true, and that's very, very true. Okay, so in your opinion, let's talk just about relationships. How important is the cultivation of relationships as we think about change?
I mean, it's everything, right? Our relationships are everything, especially here at CORA. We know that when we're working with children and families. Building those relationships takes time, takes trust, and it really is everything. Especially during change management, I think I've built a lot of trust with my team because I've done all the jobs that they've done, and they know when we make a decision together that I know how it's going to affect their daily operations. But most importantly, when we make those changes, we've built the relationships, we've worked together, we get in the trenches together, we roll up our sleeves together. And when they understand why we're making changes, especially when they understand the impact that's going to have on children and families, we know that we're all working in the same direction, and we know what we can do, how we can do it, and we look for new ways and more efficient ways to do things better. But without those initial relationships, it's just research, or it's not in practice.
Yep. I know I did another interview with somebody that was in direct service. It's really wild to kind of interview folks at different tiers of the organization and hear similar themes. But how do you cultivate and maintain strong relationships in the midst of change? Because there's the implementation of change, and then there's like, we feel it here at CORA, the pain points. Like everybody, lots of times people can get behind the vision and they can get excited about it, but then when they see the pain that it brings in the implementation stages, how do you keep those relationships strong in the midst of that? Because you do it all the time. So how are you doing it?
It's a great question. And like I said, I think I have it a little bit easier knowing that my
That's 'cause
team
you're humble.
loves change and technology.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do try to be as humble as possible. And the transparency, for sure, we know exactly why we're doing it. So even during those most difficult moments, my team sees the whole vision. They're not, they don't have tunnel vision on the challenge in front of them. They're looking at the horizon and where we're going to be. And there's been really challenging points. There's been points where we're working around the clock, where everybody's exhausted and overworked. And knowing that we're there for each other, that we prop each other up,
that you play basketball once in a while.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That builds teamwork for sure.
Yeah.
But it feels really good to know that we all have done it. We all are willing to do it. We all know why we're doing it. Most importantly, we know we're on mission, and we know that when we do a good job, our children and families receive the best services.
Yeah. You said something that I love, and I want to kind of end on it. I want to make a note of it. Is the one you allow your team to see the big picture, right? So that's really important. And I think that's important even at upper leadership when you have a large organization. What's the big picture? Where are we all driving towards? I think that's why we did COVID pretty well. We all knew where we were driving towards. But the second thing that you're not adding to that you do really well, and I think is important with leadership, and you don't even know you're doing it, is that because you've given them the big picture, you're also allowing them to be creative to come up with the solutions. And when employees have an opportunity to see the big picture and feel like they can use that creative energy to become the problem solvers, and they're doing it as a team, it builds such a great team dynamic, and they feel like they're valued. They feel like they're heard. They feel like they're valued. And I know I've talked to some of your employees where they feel that way. They're like, I'm heard, right? Because you respect them as younger folks coming in with new knowledge and new ideas, and you want them to use those ideas for the bigger projects and bigger team. And that is huge because people can wrap themselves around that even in the midst of stressful situations.
That's
so super significant.
I'm really glad they feel that way because it's true. I really value everybody on my team, and all of our best ideas come from working together, and every voice is big.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right. With that being said, thank you so much for your time. Great to hear from you. I know you love doing this so much, so thank you for your willingness.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks. And that's all. Till our next one. Thank you so much.